I just thought I'd light this like an episode of Picard. We'll be back and talk about the episode in a minute. Hello out there, I'm the oldest nerd, and let's just start out by saying that there are going to be spoilers in this particular review. There's too many things that have happened here we need to talk about that we can't just say in more general terms. We're following along with Raffi, who has been told to disengage from continuing to pursue the mission that she was on. We know that she was looking for whoever it was that stole this piece of Federation technology and actually witnesses its use in a low-level Starfleet facility. And she proceeds to get in touch with her handler to see if she can continue to look at this, despite the fact that a Federation newscast had already identified who the culprit was. She realized that it was a cover-up, and she wanted to dig further. The handler, through text, just says, disengage. The planet Metalis, which we've seen before in Enterprise episodes and in of Discovery. It's kind of like if they depicted Hong Kong in Blade Runner. So anyway, what we have here is she goes into the underworld there, meets with her husband who now owns a bar, and he gives her an ultimatum that she can either go to her unauthorized investigation or she can go see her son. And she obviously picks what he predicted that she would pick. The son really doesn't want anything to do with her because she spent all of her time running after phantoms and not looking after him. So it's kind of a tough family that Raffi has, and she's getting more than her share of tough love for it. A Ferengi by the name of Sneed, who has an interesting collection of Earth memorabilia, including a baseball. Makes me think, I wonder if that was Cisco's baseball, but I digress. At any rate, her idea of who didn't do it obviously didn't do it, and Sneed knew who it was, but it was not to be answered just yet. Thankfully, just about the time that they had the drop on her, in comes her handler, who chops everybody's head off. And it's one of the greatest entries of a Star Trek character, and that's Worf there, only seconded by Riker back in the first season. At any rate, we have that pretty much where it stands right now. We have Picard and Riker and Crusher about to be obliterated by whoever the enemy is, and thanks to the fact that Seven was able to shame Captain Shaw, or at least appeal to his ego, that he goes in and does a last-minute rescue. Then we meet our nemesis, finally, who is played by Amanda Plummer, and I have not seen a better villain in all of Star Trek. I mean, she even out-conned Khan with and I'm talking Ricardo Montalban, who did, he was the greatest villain of all of them, and I think she's put something on top of that, and does it the same way, I think. One of the things that made Montalban so good in Star Trek II was that his evil wasn't just loudly, ha 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 kind of stuff, the hollowed out volcano, the petting the cat, all of that kind of stuff, but rather very much underplayed. But even as Amanda Plummer, who plays Vadic, absolutely chews the scenery, she does it with such subtlety, with such glee, that you've got to love this villain, that she is not only going to have her way, but she's going to have so much fun doing it. It reminds me a little bit of Malcolm McDowell in A Clockwork Orange. This is a movie I've only seen once because it was so incredibly violent. It's not one of those kind of things you can see a whole lot of times, in my opinion. But this whole idea of I know I am a deviant, but I don't care, and I am very happy about it. What her motivation is, I don't know. What she wants with Jack Crusher, we don't know. Is it genetic, being Picard's son, that he should speak with a British accent and use French expressions? I think it's a little too heavy-handed there. Although I did love Riker's poking at Picard about that. There's something familiar about him, don't you think? Picard obviously is trying to cover his eyes and say, no, I don't know anything, I don't see anything. And even as far as when they get back on the ship and interrogating him, he does go as far as saying, who is your father? And of course, Jack says, my father is I never had a father. And it wasn't a time that Picard was completely convinced, of course, until Beverly comes on the bridge. And in the kind of acting you could only see out of this company of actors, just him looking at her and her looking at him set a volume. And then he turns to Captain Shaw and says, he's my son. That's the reason we got to save everything. And to Shaw's credit, he got this and stuck to his Starfleet ideals, and they got the ship out of there. But he did have a couple of good lines, the captain did. We're cornered in space, and space has no corners. When he first has communication with Captain Vadek, he says, would it help to know that I was having a nice day before this? I do like his understated humor. It works out well for me. And, of course, first time we've ever seen another ship thrown at another ship. And this is another thing I told my wife, that in Star Trek, shields will hold back everything unless you throw a rock at them. And in this case, they throw this ship at them, and it damages Deck 11 or whatever. And at least they did have a line of dialogue where the captain said, this should not have happened, and it shouldn't have. And Ensign LaForge gives them a bit of tech talk in order to explain why inverted negative shield, reverse the polarity, double talk worked. At any rate, the ship is not terribly damaged, and they're able to get away. And so while they're repeating some of the things that we saw in Star Trek II, where the captain has a son he barely knew about, he didn't know about it all in this case. In Star Trek II, Kirk knew about the son but stayed away from him. The long-lost girlfriend, who they may try to rekindle a relationship, who knows, and escaping into a nebula. This has all been done before, but somehow I feel like this is going to have a different dynamic to it because we're not dealing with the egos, the dueling egos that we had between Khan and Kirk, in the way that this is going to be a matching of wits between Picard and Vadek. But I think what we're going to have here is that we're going to have the advantage of having three captains or three command level officers on this ship who can put their heads together. We have found that we believe that we know what Picard is capable of. We know what Riker is capable of, certainly thinking outside the box. And we know that Shaw is quite the engineer and might be able to come up with some interesting ideas as we go along. Let me know what you think about it in the comment section below. And, of course, if you've not yet become a subscriber, remember, it doesn't cost anything. It does not make you have to join a club, wear a funny hat, or travel to any special place in order to do things. It's just a way to show that you enjoy the channel, and that helps us with YouTube. So thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Until then, don't go far.